Welcome, welcome, one and all. It's been a second, a minute even, and I know you all have missed me. Trust me, I surely missed being here. But I had a bit of a busy November, and haven't really been enjoying Dead by Daylight as of late. So, I decided I would take a short break in that time. But I'm back now, just like Daddy with the milk. And I already got a couple of videos in the pipeline. A couple of pretty big ones, pretty good ones. Ones that I'm pretty excited for, so expect that soon. But enough with that. Let's get down with the rules for today's video. Firstly, I do not understand how a lot of this game's systems work when it comes to the numbers. I don't know what 33% affects. I don't know what 50% affects. So take the numbers with a tad bit of grain of salt, and focus more on the idea of the changes, more so than the numbers. But still focus on the numbers because they're, focus obviously because they give you the idea, but you know what I mean. Secondly, it's mostly nerfs here. I'm sure that is to be expected though, considering items are pretty generally considered to be a bit overpowered at the moment. So expect a lot of nerfs and a couple other things, but not just nerfs, not entirely nerfs. And thirdly, you're going to notice me repeat a lot of things throughout this video. That's because I try to keep a consistent viewpoint throughout reworking a lot of these items. So expect a bit of repetition and try to stick with me here. But now with that all being said, like always, let me know your thoughts on everything down below. And while you're down there, whether you enjoyed the video or not, like and subscribe. You should do it. I know you want to do it. I know if you're watching this for your first time, you want to like and subscribe, so you might as well just like and subscribe. But anyway, let's get right into it. If you get hurt on the job, we cannot cover your loss. Hit the 6 and you'll be fine. Now, before we begin to the items themselves, I actually do have one more little ground rule to set here. When coming up with the changes for the items, I came up with a little bit of a rule list, a shopping list, let's say, for the changes. Medkits and toolboxes will follow a specific set of changes, or a specific layout for how they're changed. Same thing with all the other items, which we'll discuss. For medkits and toolboxes, I followed a somewhat non-linear style of changes. There'll be 4 items, and then 8 add-ons, as opposed to the current number of like 5, I think it's 5 items, and then like 13 add-ons. The idea here was to streamline add-ons and items a bit more, so they're a bit more consistent, a bit easier to understand, and still very useful. Starting off with the items themselves, for the medkits, we have 4 items: the camping aid kit, the first aid kit, the emergency medkit, and the ranger medkit. Now, the first change I did was I lowered the emergency medkit to an uncommon rarity to match the first aid kit, and I lowered the ranger medkit to a rare rarity. As for the changes, the first change I made to the camping aid kit, fairly simple change here. I just lowered its altruistic healing speed to 30% from 35. Everything else I kept the same numbers-wise. Obviously, I'll throw up all the numbers here. Very simple for the camping aid kit. The second change I did was to the ranger medkit. I also lowered its altruistic healing speed by 10% and made no other changes. So for the most part, camping aid kit and ranger medkit stay the same. Where things get a little bit more spicy is the first aid kit and the emergency medkit. Now, my idea with these changes, you have 4 medkits. You have 2 all-rounders that can do whatever you want and they do their job well, or you can go for the middle options and you can have one that specializes in each category. For the first aid kit, I removed its ability to self-heal entirely and instead increased its altruistic healing speed by 60% and then kept the charges the same. So this is a medkit that specializes in healing other survivors rather than yourself. As for the emergency medkit, you do not have the ability to heal other survivors. You just have the ability to heal yourself. On top of that, I increased its personal healing speed to 50% off of 33%, so it'll be 17% faster in self-heals. And as opposed to the first aid kit, the emergency medkit specializes in healing yourself. So, depending on what you want, what kind of build you're going for, or what kind of overall game you want to play for, you have the first aid kit to have faster altruistic healing speeds, and have the emergency medkit for faster self-healing speeds, or you can do camping aid kit and ranger medkit for just general whatever gameplay. And that is how that layout will work. It'll be exactly the same for the toolbox, which we'll get into in a second. As for the add-ons, I removed quite a bit of them. I kept 8. Those 8 that I kept are butterfly tape, rubber gloves, medical scissors, needle and thread, surgical suture, which I made an uncommon rarity, gauze roll, abdominal dressings, and anti-hemorrhagic syringe. Now, the changes I made to the add-ons are fairly boring, I will admit. Butterfly Tape increases the healing speeds of medkits by 10%. Rubber Gloves increases the healing skill check success zone by 10%. Medical Scissors increases the odds of triggering healing skill checks by 15%. Needle and Thread increases the progression bonus of great skill checks by 10%. Surgical Suture increases the great skill check success zone by 10%. And Gauze Roll increases healing charges by 10%. Now, like I mentioned with the numbers bit, these could go up or down depending on how strong or weak it might be. But the idea is, for the first set of add-ons up until the rare rarity, it's one flat, big increase in whatever zone it specializes in. It's not meant to be super complicated. It's not meant to be super engaging. It's just meant to make medkits better. It's depending on, once again, what kind of build you want to run. Now, where it does get interesting, abdominal dressings. Now, originally, abdominal dressings, all it did was increase its healing speed by 50%. In this case, I reworked it entirely. Press the secondary action button while healing yourself or another survivor with a medkit to use abdominal dressings to instantly suppress the creation of pools of blood for 20 seconds. Now, this is obviously a significantly weaker option to Styptic Agent, but Styptic Agent, in my opinion, is very strong. So I figured giving survivors an add-on option that still has that interaction, but isn't as strong as before, would be a bit nicer for both sides. Speaking of very strong, Anti-Hemorrhagic Syringe. Now, Anti-Hemorrhagic Syringe just got reworked to negate the exhaustion status effect, and personally, I actually think the change makes it stronger than it was before, which is something that I did not think was possible. But here we are. So, my rework is kind of boring. I reverted its current rework, and I increased the healing time to 20 seconds, and then I made it so using Anti-Hemorrhagic Syringe disables the healing action of your medkit. Very simple. Like I said, very big nerfs to medkits. I do believe that they are very strong, a bit overpowered as they are now, but that is all the changes that I made to medkits. Just to recap what I went over 6 times: 4 items, 2 all-rounders, 2 that specialize in their specific category, and then I streamlined add-ons, made them simpler, made them a bit more effective, and then made the really strong ones a little weak.
Did you listen to the vision you saw? As the clock keeps ticking, we'll be giving you more. Do you remember the original 4?
And with that, we move on to the medkit counterpart, Toolboxes. Now, like I said already, very similar to the way medkits work. I kept 4 toolboxes out of the 5, worn out tools as our common, toolbox as our uncommon, Alex's toolbox as our other uncommon, and engineer's toolbox as our rare. Now, once again, very minor changes to the numbers of the first set of items. Worn out tools, the only change I made is I removed its skill check success zone reduction, because I felt like that's kind of just unnecessary. So now it just does 16 charges, 50% repair speed, and it's 10% sabotage speed. As for the engineer's toolbox, a little bit more changes than worn out toolbox. 16 charges. I decreased its repair speed to 75% off of 100, and I increased its sabotage speed to 30% off of 10. But as for our specialists, our baseline toolbox with 20 charges, I increased its repair speed by 100%, and then removed the sabotage action. And then Alex's toolbox, 32 charges. I removed its ability to repair generators, instead increases the sabotage action speed by 125%. Like medkits, 2 all-rounders, 2 specialists, very plain and simple. Now the add-ons, like the actual items, are the same idea as the medkits. Instructions increases repair speeds of toolboxes by 20%. Protected gloves increases repair skill check success zone by 10%. Grip wrench increases odds of triggering repair skill checks by 15%. Socket swivels increases great skill check success zones by 10%. Wire spool increases the progression bonus of great skill checks by 10%. And hacksaw increases toolbox sabotage speeds by 30%. And once again, tell me if you heard this one before. Like toolboxes, we have 2 add-ons, the Epic and the Iridescent. The Epic add-on, brand new part, which I obviously lowered to an Epic rarity. Now, instead of doing what it does, it suppresses failed skill check noise notifications. It reduces all audible range of generator sounds by 8 meters. Now, this will be something that happens when you're using a toolbox on a generator at all times. You don't have to activate it. You don't have to do anything fancy. You use a toolbox on a generator, and this will happen. And then this effect also lingers for 10 seconds. I forgot to put that in my notes, but it will also linger for 10 seconds. As for its iridescent screwdriver. Press the secondary action button while repairing a generator to use the iridescent screwdriver instantly, increasing the repair speeds of all survivors on the generator by 50% until the generator is damaged or completed. Now this is just kind of like a more balanced brand new part. It might be kind of busted. This was my idea for making brand new part a bit simpler. Also, as to why I didn't just make this brand new part, I thought it'd be funnier to lower brand new parts rarity. Simple as that. But other than that, that's all for toolboxes. Like I said, a very similar procedure to medkits. I tried to streamline its add-ons and make each toolbox a bit weaker, but also more interesting to use. Now for the next item, flashlights. Now the main thing I did for flashlights was reduce its add-on count to bring it in line with keys, maps, and fog vials, and then just kind of increase flashlights as they were to make them a bit more efficient at their job. The first thing I did is I made the baseline flashlight common rarity. I made the sports flashlight uncommon from rare, and then I made the utility flashlight uncommon from epic. Now for the baseline flashlight, I only did one stat change. I added an increased aim accuracy of 20%. I left its duration the same. For the sports flashlight, I increased its item duration 12 seconds off of 8. I added an increased aim accuracy of 40%, an increased beam brightness of 20%, and then removed its previous bonuses. For the utility flashlight, I kept its duration the same, 12 seconds, and then I added an increase in aim accuracy of 20% and an increase to beam brightness of 40%. And then obviously, once again, removed its previous effects. Now, I'm sure as you notice, what I tried to do here was I tried to make it similar to the medkits and toolboxes, one all-rounder and then two specialists. As for the add-ons, fairly simple, like I said, there's going to be 5 of them. Anti-slip grip has increased aim accuracy of 40%. Low aim filament reduces the battery depletion rate by 30%, reduces the width of beam by 20%. High-end battery extends battery life by 6 seconds. High-end sapphire lens increases the reach of beam by 35%, increases the brightness of beam by 30%, and increases the duration of successful blinds by 15%. Then for its final add-on, it's iridescent. I changed from its previous one because I didn't think it was that good, to heat siphon. Successful blinds recharge your battery life by 4 seconds. Overall, the add-ons I just kind of reworked so that the previous add-ons kind of stack on top of each other, so each add-on is a bit more useful. And then obviously for heat siphon, like I said, I thought odd bulb was bad. I wanted to make something a bit more interesting, and that's my try at that. That's all for the flashlights. Very simple changes, like I said, trying to streamline it all, like I've said so many times, trying to make the items a bit better at their job. Now for this part, we're going to get a little special with it. I have 2 sets of items, keys and maps. Now keys and maps also got reworked recently, and honestly, I think they're in a pretty good state as they are balance-wise. I just don't like the fact that they're charge-based. And the reason why I don't particularly care for the charge system on items is because it fucks with perks like Franklin's Demise. Franklin's Demise got gutted so that this charge system can function, and I don't agree with that because I don't think the charge system is very good to begin with anyway. Key's the only changes I made. Broken Key, I changed it from an 8 charge system to 25 seconds of usage. For the Dull Key, I changed its charge system to 20 seconds of usage, and Skeleton Key, I changed its charge system to 20 seconds as well. As for the add-ons, the only ones I changed were charge related. Friendship Charm, instead of increasing its charges by 1, it extends key duration by 5 seconds. Braided Babble, instead of it increasing the ring duration by 2 seconds, I changed it to channeling any key reveals the hatch to you, which is, I would say, a fairly good trade-off in my humble non-survivor opinion. As for Blood Amber, I removed its downsides of reducing ore reveal time by 6 seconds and then reducing its charges by 2. I changed it to reduce the duration of a key by 5 seconds and kept its bonus effect the same. So like I said, very simple, just changing everything from the charge system back to the old duration system. Same with...
My name is Eggs Benedict, but I won't be working the breakfast shift. This job had no prerequisites. Does that mean I should have been hesitant instead of just accepting it?
the maps. Cryptic Map Start the travel 20 seconds of usage. Scribbled map, start the travel 25 seconds of usage. Annotated map, start the travel 30 seconds of usage. Now, before I get into the add-ons, I want to be known that the way beam of lights work as they are exactly the same. You'll pull up the map as is, you'll place your beam, it'll have its exact same lifetime duration and all of that. You'll just have technically unlimited uses until your map runs out. Glowing ink extends map duration by 5 seconds. Gnarled compass extends the duration of beam of light by 4 seconds. Now, as for Crimson Stamp, I changes to the auras of pallets, vaults, and breakable walls within 20 meters of the beam of light are revealed to all survivors and reduces the duration of the beam of light by 8 seconds. Definitely a nerf for Crimson Stamp, but honestly, I kind of felt like Crimson Stamp was a tad bit strong. I'm not a huge fan of anything aura reading on the killer when it comes to something that isn't perk related, so that was my thought process behind it. But with that brings us to the end of keys and maps, of which I'm not sure I'll separate into different categories or keep them in one category. I guess you'll see, but I don't. But with all that, we're going to move on to the big ticket item of this video.
Come on down to Freddy's and we'll make a tycoon of you. Invest all of your savings.
Where to begin with Fog Vials, man? They were released, they were kind of weak, but annoying. Then they were nerfed, and then they were nerfed, and now they're useless. Now, Fog Vials obviously are the reason why we have this currently awful charge system on items. So the biggest thing, that's actually not even true, not even the biggest thing, but essentially what you'll see for the most part, a lot of the change for each Fog Vial was fixing, quote unquote, the charge-based system, making it into a duration system. Before I even get into the items and add-ons, I want to put a little note here. There's a weird thing with Fog Vials where if you throw down a Fog Vial, it won't hide your previously placed scratch marks. Change that right away. I think it should immediately delete scratch marks the second that it's placed, no matter if they've been placed already, because as is, it's kind of useless blocking scratch marks, because you drop a Fog Vial, the killer can still track your scratch marks for a moment and get to you. So that's the first change I'd make. Thanks for my favorite Italian friend Matteo for suggesting that one. Now as for the items. Apprentice's Fog Vial. Start to travel 20 seconds of usage. Press the use item button to release a concentrated fog. It expands to the maximum size of 8 meters over 1 second, has an opacity of 33%, suppresses auras and scratch marks. Press the use item button again to retract the fog. Releasing the fog has a 20-second cooldown. This will obviously set the baseline for all the Fog Vials. You'll have 20 seconds of usage overall. You can retract the Fog Vial at any time upon using it, and then it'll go on a quick cooldown, so you don't just spam it over and over and over and over again and break the game. And that, mostly everything's the same. I decreased the duration of which it expands over time, because I think it's a fine thing to have be fairly fast. I don't know. But anyway, Artisan's Fog Vial. Start to travel 20 seconds of usage. Press the use item button to release a concentrated fog. Expands to a maximum size of 10 meters over 1.5 seconds. Has an opacity of 33%. Suppresses scratch marks and auras. Uses the ability button to retract the fog. Releasing the fog has a 20-second cooldown. Just a better version of Apprentice's Fog Vial. Very simple. Then we have Vigo's Fog Vial. Start to travel 25 seconds of usage. Press the use item button to release a concentrated fog. Expands to a maximum size of 10 meters over 1 second. Has an opacity of 35%. Suppresses auras and scratch marks. Press the use item button again. Retract the fog. Releasing the fog has a 15-second cooldown. Once again, very simple. Just a straight, better version of the Fog Vials. Now, as for the add-ons, I kind of reworked them. Kind of didn't, based on how you see it. The first add-on, Volcanic Stone, remains unchanged. The second add-on, Reactive Compound. However, as it is right now, it reduces the expansion time of fog clouds by 1 second. I think this is a redundant thing. Instead, I changed it to increase movement speed while in fog clouds by 3%. Haste stuff, I know. Haste sucks. They should just remove haste stacking. But I think this would be fun. I think it's helpful. For the next add-on, Oily Sap. As it is right now, it increases the duration of fog clouds by 2 seconds. I changed it to Fog Cloud suppresses survivor grunts of pain by 40%. Very simple. I'm not sure how strong that would be, but I think it'd be pretty helpful considering the idea of Fog Vials. Mushroom Formula as it is right now, it increases the maximum size of fog cloud by 2 meters. Another pretty useless add-on in my opinion. So I changed it to increase the duration of a fog cloud by 5 seconds. And finally, potent extract. I just removed its downsides. It now just has a flat 5% increase in opacity. And that is all for the fog vial. Now, fog vials were kind of the whole spark for this video idea. These changes are probably the ones I put the most effort into, the ones I definitely put the most thought into. So I hope you guys like these ones in particular, because I was pretty proud of this. At least the idea of changing it from a charge-based system, duration-based system. But with that, we're done. That's all 5 items currently in Dead by Daylight. Now, like I said at the top of the video, kind of weird with the numbers, a little bit all over the place. It's shockingly difficult to balance items on a number basis when you don't understand how the numbers work. Nonetheless, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed my changes for the items. Like always, I would love to hear your thoughts on them down below. I'll try my best to respond to as many comments as possible. I am incredibly lazy, so I won't guarantee that you'll get responded to, and if you don't, I apologize. But without anything else to add, or anything funny to say, I'm out of here. Adios.